measurement of one.
Being surveyor.
You already
We already debunked that one.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Yes,
You've
we
only
did.
put a question
What are they
here.
talking about, Jeremy?
Jeremy, does Space Pope agree with you? Because I'm not sure. I remember that about
what's the
5 months
topic?
ago.
Well, they think plumb lines aren't parallel.
Oh,
It's ridiculous.
I think they are. It's ridiculous.
Jeremy,
You have
anytime you
no
want to walk
evidence.
through that, I'll walk through that with you, but you don't want to because you just want to think that you understand it and you don't. But I can explain it to you if you wanted to understand it. But you don't.
There's nothing
so.
to explain. You don't have enough.
I know. You
measurements.
don't want to understand it. I get it.
I understand that you
I
don't
know
have
you're
enough
vested in-
refraction.
I get it. You're vested in not understanding. You're vested in confusion. I get that.
No,
But
not,
we can help
not
you if you want to,
vested in.
Jeremy.
There's nothing you can do because your main surveyor
we
boy
could.
didn't take enough refraction.
I'm pretty sure I could. I got the
Even if
ability
you
to
did
teach.
take enough refraction measurements, you can't prove that refraction.
But I can teach you this, Jeremy.
You can't.
If you want to learn,
Nobody
but you
can
don't,
teach me
so.
this because you don't
No,
even
I
know.
could. I have the skills.
How are you
I
going
do.
to teach me something you don't even know?
I have the skills, Jeremy.
You got the skills to pay the
But
bill.
you don't want to learn. You'll just run like Lemon did when I tried to teach him.
Jeremy, don't forget they have got imaginometry.
Chemo, you missed it. I just killed him.
Well, go on then. Let's see what happened. Let's do it again.
It was very.
You have to run the tape back. It's too late.
Okay.
She actually got a geometry teacher to tell them straight.
Yeah, I work in a chemo. I work in a school, and I got the geometry teacher to explain to these guys that you can't have a perpendicular to a point, and you can't have a perpendicular to a curved line.
Right.
So what college are you working at these days?
I'm in a high school.
Wait, you're in a high school. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And this geometry.
You think they're teaching it wrong? You think they're teaching the kids bad geometry?
Well, I'm just wondering why, that teacher has any more credibility than anybody else here. I mean, we all have the same math classes she had.
The teacher's teaching this stuff. She knows what's going on. You guys clearly don't know what's going on because you're trying to say. Listen, let's not get back into it, Mackie, because it's kind of. I think everyone's sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, I know. I think everybody's sick of hearing a lot of things you're talking about, though, Jeremy. That doesn't stop you.
Well, what do you want to talk about, Mackie?
Dude.
You have nothing. Go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
Neither do you. That's the point.
I have tons of stuff to talk about.
I know you do. I know you think you do.
We got the relationship of the subsolar point all along the longitude line.
A lot of stuff I want to talk about. I'm too shy because it's more
That's not.
What you got, Don?
deep space stuff.
Evidence that's not
Flat
happening.
Earth related, Don.
Don, what do you got?
So, well, it's more like just space skepticism stuff. But maybe I need to have like an hour time slot a week to really be not shy to bring up my shit. You know what I mean? Like, does anybody want to
do that shit, Don?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It would be nice if someone
Don,
can get
talk
hold
that
of.
shit, bro.
It would be nice if someone can get hold of Mr. Sensible for me, because the coward is running like a little girl off the copyright strike me.
What's he running from you on?
That's all. What for?
He copyright striked me. He can't give me a reason. He just said I infringed his fair use, and that's all. And he's just been ignoring me. So he's running like a little baby coward just because I showed him he doesn't understand perspective.
They're cowards, Flatsoid. They know we are absolutely wrecking them. And
Flatsoid doesn't understand perspective.
Explain perspective.
You're talking to an art major here, and you're telling me I don't understand perspective. Very funny.
Oh, you're
And
an
you're
art
talking to
major.
an artist of 30 plus years. Go ahead.
Well, it doesn't matter if he thinks the Earth's flat or whatever about perspective. People shouldn't be copywriting a video he makes where he's criticizing something. That does fall under fair use, even if his criticism is not valid.
here.
They're scared. Tell him, Chemo. Tell him, Chemo. They're scared.
Wow,
I
absolutely.
asked what his deviation from perspective was with Mr. Sensich. Explain the issue.
He actually took Gary White Binger's video and totally misrepresented what he was saying. So I just had to correct him. Too bad correcting him makes him copyright strike people.
Yeah.
Beep every time you're talking. Yeah, like a boop in the background.
It's really weird. Doesn't
Yeah, I
YouTube
feel like
audit
if somebody makes a video, and says something wrong, you should be able to criticize it without getting a copyright. That's ridiculous.
I'm sure that they have parameters like how much of their how how similar it can be to the original content or whatever. I don't know it exactly, but aren't you gonna like appeal that, and won't they audit it and see
Yeah,
if
they should.
agree?
Yeah, going to.
They're against us, though. They're against us, Don, because they're against the flat Earth. So
Yeah,
Well, I
they've got
will
to protect
appeal
the
it.
globe model.
Funny thing I've been noticing though, even though I've only got 900 subscribers, which has been staying 900 for the last month somehow, I still get an average of 600, 700 views a video, where people with 6K subscribers only get like 33 in the time frame I get 600, which is really strange.
Popular.
Yeah, they want to shut you down.
I got a strike as well, but Lemon again was talking medical stuff. I'm gonna have to mute every time he talks medical stuff. And it's misinformation. We're hitting us all, fat sword.
Maybe that's
But
what they're
it's
gonna
okay.
get you on. Well, Kimo, I'm just saying, as far as rules of consistency, if they think that they take action when there's misinformation, then maybe
I appealed it. I
Flat
said,
Sword-
look, I wasn't trying to talk about that stuff. So
that sucks.
I doubt that appeal will work.
I know.
Emo, you've been putting out so much stuff lately. Stuff I don't even remember.
I
Back
warned
in
you.
the day, what you got? What you got?
I
Videos
warned-
from like a year ago?
No,
I
I mean, I
warned
just
you.
usually like.
Oh, I thought you put out some real old video the other day, a couple weeks ago.
Don't you think? Don't you think it's kind of childish for people to be copyright striking people though?
Yeah, that's nonsense, Flatsoid. I got your back, bro.
Yeah, Jeremy.
I could put myself in that situation. If there was anybody I didn't like or annoyed me, I'd probably click the button on them. I mean, possibly. It's a bitch move, but I mean, it's definitely not rare.
Don, what about space? Did you
Bitch move against a bitch.
Don, space.
Yeah.
About it.
Well, you know, it's just they're full of these continuation fallacies, Kimo. I'd love to see more. You know, they'll tell you in 1 minute, you know, that, you know, well, they'll special from the latest thing I think we're on, guys, is we've got some special pleading going on when it comes to conservation of momentum and the propagation of light. It's like it can only conserve its momentum laterally, but not forward or back. You know, I get it forward because it might have a max speed, but backwards should be conserved. If it can be pushed sideways, it should be able to be pushed back. Like, it's very interesting, guys. It's very interesting. And, you know, either NASA is ahead of all this and they can spray their communications, you know, way off into 3D space, even though we're spinning around the galaxy and stuff. And, you know, 2 seconds later, when we aim, you know, to Mars, it's going to have moved thousands of miles across, you know, the universe as the Milky Way galaxy has spun it. You know what I'm saying? And how can this communication conserve momentum, right? How does it do that, guys? And now, okay, we're told it has lateral conservation. Does that agree with Einstein, guys? I don't know. I don't think it does. I just don't.
Why don't you write a paper on it then, smart guy?
People don't accept it. The people that allow the papers, they allow this bullshit to stand as milestones when it's logically inconsistent.
Anyone can write.
So why would they ever let my?
Anyone can write a paper and have it submitted for peer review. You're talking out of your ass.
Well, this is my paper right here. Right here is my paper. One word. Your paper is special pleading. There it is. Done. That's my paper. And I want y'all's thoughts about it. I'm not trying to start a war here. I'm in here to have the other people who I think are smart tell me I'm dumb. That's why I'm here. I'm serious.
We do that. It gets old.
When does
You see what you guys entertain all day long, right? You see what you entertain. You're on,
You
and
come
then I bring up stuff like this, and this gets old. That's what I'm saying. I'll do it 1 hour a week.
All
I'll
you
do
do
it.
is you say trash in order to trigger people. That is your
It's not
modus
true.
operandi. Why should we even bother with you?
Oh, you don't have to, man. Someone who asks the question should bother with me though. So if you don't want to, peace. And if you think that you'd rather just have airways for other stuff, like I said, dude, I hold my tongue in here a lot because of this.
Hey, Don, what do you think of rocket scientists doxing you?
What do I think of rocket scientists doxing me?
Doxing, yeah.
I don't care. What
Did
does
you
it
see
matter?
it?
I don't. Oh, you're. It's a joke, incoming joke on me. Oh, Rick Latimer.
Oh, I
Does
thought that was
anybody
you.
know who Rick Latimer is? So, rocket scientist.
Okay.
Rocket. My paper is simply that: lateral conservation of momentum for light or radio waves is special pleading. That's it. That's it. Period. Now, everybody, here's what happens. Everyone goes, look, it must be happening because Einstein said there was a thing, and obviously we could communicate to Mars. Like, no, guys, wake up.
What is lateral conservation of momentum? What are you talking about?
Well, just, simple conservation of momentum, right?
Well, Einstein had two heavy
So,
suppositions. One of them was that light, his old thing, I forgot the first presup. What is it? Light has the consistent speed. What was the other presupposition? Does anybody know? They don't know. All right, they don't even know their own shit.
I'd rather hear from Don.
All right, so we know about conservation of momentum, correct?
Yeah.
Are you smoking a blunt right now?
Nah, not a blunt.
Shut up,
But then we get examples of relativity with moving trains from Einstein's presentation of, the train can't push the light faster than the speed of light. You don't total up the speed of light plus the speed of the train, right?
Right.
Therefore, he's erasing conservation of momentum, at least in that direction forward, because I'll give him to him that way because of the speed. There's a speed limit in which it can go. So even though the train is pushing it, it ain't gonna go no faster. All right. But now we're told that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Right.
I mean,
but now,
I would say, yeah, that
makes sense. Right?
That is basically special pleading. Yeah.
Right. So now they're saying, but it conserves this momentum in a sideways way. So yeah, that's special pleading just for its own. Now they're going to special plead even more and say, even though it doesn't do it in this forward direction, it'll do it sideways. Now I'll say, I think they're saying it won't do it in reverse, which is even more fucking special pleading.
Don, what momentum does light have?
You should have stopped while you were ahead, Don.
I'm not Don was not ahead at any point.
Okay.
Is it funny for when people don't have any substance and they just score keep without any substance? Does that seem intelligent to anybody?
Don, what's momentum?
Do you think anybody here can tell us when the moment of inertia actually started?
All right. Well, I guess I'll just forget that I was having a conversation with Don.
Yeah, my man. I hear 3 different questions. Which one was yours?
Go ahead, tell them about the special pleading, Lou.
So
yeah, it was Lewis.
There's basic. I mean, special pleading isn't. I don't like the word, but I get what you mean, and it's fine. We make that for light because we don't fully understand light, and so to make any description of it, we have to make exceptions for its nature so that we can come to some explanation. So the giving it a maximum speed limit, with anything else, there wouldn't be a maximum speed limit, except, with it, what they've done is they've said that light is the speed of light is the speed limit of the universe. Nothing can go faster than light.
Now, someone's asking me about the momentum of light. I've heard it. Its wavelength is one thing I've heard.
What's funny about that, though, is that it also has a minimum speed limit, like for a given environment. If you accelerate or go faster, or if you go slower, that light is still going to pass a fixed point at the same speed. It's fixed speed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, except for sideways. which is
Because
ridiculous.
it's kind of like, I look at it like a garden hose. Like if you run sideways, each photon is its own instant in time.
Wait. What do you mean about sideways, Don?
They have lateral conservation.
So are you saying that light can travel faster than the speed of light laterally?
No, it's gonna be traveling like straight, but it'll slide sideways, like he was saying with the garden hose. That's it. Like, look, if you're not caught up with it, I'm not gonna be able to sell it to you yet. I don't have, you know what I mean? I was hoping everyone else could be ahead of me, but obviously the people who, even though they talk shit, they usually aren't. You know,
doesn't
They
slide
act like they don't
sideways,
know what's going on
Are
when
you-
they get put. They act
Are
like
you
they don't know
talking
what's going on
about
and
Mac
everybody's
it's not
scattered.
going sideways.
Are you talking about
Mac,
light
let's
just
talk.
being pulled by black holes and stuff?
No. Like we orbit the sun and the sun orbits around the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
Light gets pulled sideways like that also, supposedly. I think and that's how they're saying radio communications kind of aren't a problem in
It
between
doesn't,
space.
Don.
And it's like
That's not correct.
Radio
That's not-
radio communications aren't a problem because they broadcast in all directions. Or or if they don't, they don't all do that, but or they broadcast within a range.
Tom, that range is 3-dimensional.
Part of the lateral is the time it takes to get from point A to point B. It's like a longer path.
I mean, as long as like light from the Earth to the sun is, it takes like 8 minutes. So as long as the Earth doesn't move more than, I don't know, the range that you're broadcasting in 8 minutes, and you're still going to hit whatever you're aiming at.
The photon that came off the radius of the sun that was pointing at the Earth at the instant the Earth, when it was emitted, will not hit the Earth. It'll be light that was somewhere further along on the radius.
Mm-hmm.
here.
I want to summarize just briefly. Don made up something called lateral conservation of momentum, and then is confused by the fact that no one knows what the fuck he's talking about.
You think I made it up?
Yeah, well, it was
I learned it in here 3 days ago. I learned it in here 3 days ago, genius. You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Go cite your reference for where you learned about lateral conservation of momentum for light.
Are you
Who
trying
told
to
you
be
that,
angular?
Don?
Is it trying to be angular?
Me and Scott Veach looked it up together.
Great, then you'll have no problem going to your history and posting your citation for it right here.
Actually, I think Veach had looked it up and was explaining it to me. When I brought up the same initial thing, he was like, oh, it looks like they say that there's this lateral conservation.
All right. Well, I don't think we're...
It's funny that how incredulous they are, Jeremy. They're quick to just call me liar and dumb because they don't know about it. It's really funny.
Don, all you got to do is wait for one of the Globers that knows what's going on to come in here and set the other guys straight. That's all.
They don't know what's going on. That's what I'm trying to make these people realize. Like, you guys could be deceived so fucking easily, and it's so fucking obvious. The holes are falling apart. Okay,
Pretty sure the fact that we're questioning your cognitive abilities on what lateral conservation of momentum of light is means we're not easily deceived by any old thing anyone says. So why don't you back up what you're saying?
You can't understand it. You've already been deceived. You are calling me low cognitive when I'm the one bringing up the inconsistency. If you're so cognitive, why haven't you seen it?
But you're not.
Talk to him, Don.
Well, I don't think
you're bringing up an inconsistency from a made-up term you generated.
I didn't make up the term, homeboy. You're calling people a liar. It's really weird.
Well, look, Don. Nobody. I had no idea what you mean. I have no idea what you mean when you say lateral momentum or lateral conservation of momentum. I have no idea what you mean by that, and the descriptions you've given have not helped me understand that at all.
Dude, if you aim straight ahead, okay, and you aim at the target, and that target moves, if you don't conserve if you weren't moving at a matching pace from that target, right,
Yeah.
You're gonna fucking miss. You're gonna aim straight, the target's gonna move. Now, if you're moving and the target's moving, your projectile is gonna conserve that momentum and also move and go straight. Now, light apparently does not do this, except laterally. I'm not making it up.
What?
Okay, it's relevant because you guys should think about deep space communications.
It's wrong.
Mackie. So, Mackie, I'm in here trying to figure out what I'm missing. So, if you know what I'm missing, Mackie, let me know.
Well, Rick, they do.
I'm pretty sure I know what you're missing, and I can draw a picture for you.
Oceanography. They use it for oceanography.
Yeah, you know I love the pictures, Mackie.
I don't understand what the problem is. Light doesn't do that. Nothing does that.
Okay, so when we send a communication out, and then the place we're aiming at now is moving at a galactic speed, right?
Mm.
And we weren't aiming as if it was doing that. What the fuck is going on? Or were we aiming as if it was doing that? And now if we are, how come these times that we calculate are only the time straight to the thing?
There's no aiming.
And not fucking all this extra sideways time. Go ahead, Scott Mackey, tell me what's up.
There's no aiming. That's where you're confused.
Okay, so they're bursting it off in all directions. Fine. So and then what about the timing, Scott Mackey?
Doesn't matter. The photons go in every direction simultaneously.
But the timing is different.
The timing doesn't matter. That's where you're confused.
Then I'm saying, why does it look like they present to us times? Hold on. Why does it look that they present to us times as if they're not adding in this extra distance? They're acting as if it's conserved, that all the movement is conserved, and they're just, oh, well, it's X light distance to Mars, so therefore it's X light distance to get the signal. Well, no, it was X light distance to Mars, but Mars is going to be in 10 times X different location.
Doesn't matter. All that matters is when all that matters is when the signal was emitted. Doesn't matter where it is by when it hits us.
Well, I think I see what you're saying, Don. You're saying like when they calculate the distance to something, they just know how many light years away it is, and then that's how long they're saying a signal is going to take to get to that location, right?
Right, or Mars years away, or whatever. Yeah.
Right. But well, I mean, the difference between that distance and where the object's going to be when your signal gets there probably isn't going to be that great.
Yeah. Now I'd implore you to think again, because I've done realized it now. It's way far away. Look into it, Lewis.
Well, like what bodies are you talking about? Are you talking about like Andromeda or just other stars inside our galaxy?
Just to Mars, and you have to calculate in Milky Way movement and any movement deeper than that. Just to Mars.
Why do you have to calculate that, Don? We are in the frame of reference of the Milky Way galaxy.
There he goes. We don't have to calculate it. Another idiot telling us that light conserves the momentum again. Get excited.
Well, with Mars, you wouldn't have to calculate the galaxy's motion because our motion and the Mars's motion.
You don't get it.
We already have it. No, you're not understanding this. If we're both, Mars and Earth are on a proverbial train that can be thought of as the galaxy.
And light isn't affected by the train.
Talk to him. Talk to him, Don.
Yeah, but the motion is what we're talking about here. Just this lateral motion of the planet. So the motion of the galaxy is already, it's the same for both of them.
Have a good day.
But that doesn't
Don,
matter.
you'll
Don's
get it.
right on that one.
Don, you'll get it through to him. Just keep trying.
I'm literally playing a game right now, like, and trying
It's a game, Don. Yes, this is a game.
Like, look, guys, talk about it amongst yourselves. You finally understand the point a little bit. You guys should be able to calculate some shit by yourself now. And Scott, I'm very interested in
There's two things at play here, Don. Either you somehow believe that there's something akin to absolute motion or absolute momentum, which there isn't. Everything's in a frame of reference. Or you just flat out don't understand conservation momentum in general or how light propagates.
Or the fact that light is in momentum.
Posted a picture, Don. Does this explain what you're trying to say? Essentially, at time 1, the Earth is in one location. The light that left in that direction actually misses it. It just keeps on going. The light that left the sun and got to us at time 2 is the light that gets to us.
Don thinks Don thinks light is a bullet, and when you shoot it, if you don't lead your target, you miss the light.
No,
radio signals are a bullet.
That's not quite what he's saying. He's saying like light has a maximum speed, right?
Wait, hold on. Don, say that again. Light is a what?
I say a radio signal is like, it can be like a bullet. You don't have to shoot it in all directions, but Lewis, go ahead and say, man. I appreciate you.
So the issue he's having is like you've got light coming off the sun all the time, and he's wondering how the light from the sun, or not necessarily the sun because the sun's spewing in all directions, but if it was just going in one direction, how would that light ever hit the earth? Because the sun, the earth, everything is moving, and all these they're moving through the universe very quickly because of all these different motions from the galaxy and whatever our galaxy cluster is doing. And
yeah, and it's just bad news for Einstein, guys. Not really for your model. Just throw Einstein away.
No. What Don says is, I understand it, and you can correct me, Don. If you go on a train, 2 trains, you aim, they are not in motion, you aim at the target, you hit it. Once the trains start moving, both trains, the same speed, somehow you will miss your target if you aim to the same point, at the same direction you did before. That's what you're saying, though.
so it's like
because the light does not conserve momentum.
The Milky Way galaxy moves at 1.3 million miles per hour. So that's fast, but the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. So, I see what you're saying, Don, but the speed of light is so much faster that virtually no matter how far away and whatever we're trying to hit with a radio signal is, that's going to be something we're going to be able to anticipate.
I think that they say that they might, like, to the moon, right, to these retroflectors to the moon. But when you start getting farther than that, you start talking about things that take 10 seconds to go there and back. I don't care how fast light is, dude. When you're talking about 1,000,000 miles an hour, 100 million miles an hour, you're going a far distance in 10 seconds. And then, which is, what is that? That's 160. That's 360. It's divided by 360, right? So then, or not even. Yeah. So then, then on top of that, okay, you got them telling that they aiming ahead for that shit.
What are they aiming at, Don?
Well, all they have to do is have a band that they broadcast in. It doesn't even have to be very accurate.
And then why are we stopping at Milky Way? Like, isn't there another movement that's even bigger than Milky Way? And then isn't there even guys, it just starts at 100 million miles an hour. Right.
But no, it doesn't. That's the problem.
Like your issue isn't a problem in the micro or the macro. So the fact that there's different vectors and different speeds still doesn't matter when it comes to the speed of light. If the light and you don't aim light, it goes everywhere. It propagates everywhere at all times. So if you're thinking you're going to miss someone with light, well, you're not. If you don't see the light, then you've missed it. But if you can see the light, then you've hit your target.
Let's talk about the perseverance from Mars. Why don't you, Mr. Know-It-All? Why don't you talk about the speed of the radio signal from Mars? All show how NASA says it's going in all directions. Okay, and now put on all these vectors that you say are minute or whatever. And show how it gets there, easy peasy. You're talking out of your trusting ass. You have not measured it.
Try to write it down, Don.
I'm still not sure what your issue is. Radio waves propagate, and they reach the target, and there's a receiver. There's a frequency that we broadcast them, and the receiver picks it up. The strength of the signal depends on, how strong of a signal we send out. The receiver picks it up and relays it back to us, and the time it takes is the TTL for the signal, depending on how far away we are. It's that freaking simple, Don.
Don, does your radio stop working when you start moving?
Yeah, the answer is no, because it's just a made-up issue in your head, Don. You just don't understand scale.
I think one of the things you have to also understand is when you look at Mars with a telescope and you aim a radio dish, you're looking at the place where it has already, it already has the delay involved, I think.
Yep.
So when you go to aim at it, you just aim at the object. You already build in the time delay. So, I mean, if you physically knew exactly where Mars was and you aimed the laser right there, I guess it would miss.
So
If you
that's an
aimed at
apparent
the
position
physical
of Mars.
location where it is in degrees and circle around you, you would actually miss. Am I correct,
Absolutely.
Scott?
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
we're not really seeing Mars. We're seeing the apparent Mars.
Circles back to Don
Not
thinking
actual
light is
Mars.
that you have to lead your target on, and that's just not how it works.
No, well, apparently here they're telling you how you actually are leading your target. It just doesn't look like it.
You don't
That's
have to
what
lead
they
your target,
just told
Don. It propagates in all directions. It's a bullet that
Let's
hits
take a theoretical perfect laser beam that's got a quarter-inch wide divergence over 1 billion miles, and you aim that right at where you know Mars to physically be, you'd miss it. You'd miss it by 20 minutes.
Well, there we go.
We already knew that, Don. All of us already understood
Took
that.
you a whole long time to tell me.
No. We understood it before you said anything today.
I didn't say that you didn't. I said it took you a long time to tell me. I asked you multiple times for your picture.
But you got it backwards still. Moyak just explained something that's exactly opposite of what you were just talking about in order to explain the point.
How was it opposite?
Well, you said that we shouldn't even be able to hit Mars.
Because the radio waves are not a laser beam. They go in all directions. That's the difference between them. So if in Moyak's example, if we fired a laser beam that went in all directions, we're always going to hit Mars. We can't miss it. We can't possibly miss it.
Of course, but it's about the time. I get it. It's about the time, though. We know that the light does not. But listen, guys, I'm going to tell y'all this. The whole room tried to say something about me making up the lateral conservation.
Well, we're still saying that.
Well, you did.
Well, there's multiple witnesses who were here when we looked it up in this room days ago, and that's the best answer that me and the Glober found. And that's what it was.
Yeah,
so I didn't make it up, you guys. It's out there on the internet somewhere.
Don, why don't you look at how they actually do the retroreflector test on the moon, and then it might help you understand what's going on a more grand scale, such as Mars.
Don, I'm not disputing that you had a conversation with Veach. I am disputing the terminology that you've created to account for what you talked about.
You heard what I said, Don?
Yeah. So now it's possible that maybe I didn't say it right, and it's propagating all directions. So we're gonna look. We got one standing answer and another standing answer. We'll see if they're both right, not or any mix. What's up?
You're confusing a hypothetical laser that doesn't have beam divergence and how radio waves actually propagate. I would advise you just to go look up. Just type in Google.
How wide is your beam, Zanuck? You only get one little pebble back.
Don, I'll give you a little advice here. Now go look up retroreflectors and how it works with the moon, and you might understand what's happening. By the time that beam is diverged, reflects off the reflectors on the moon, and comes back, we only get 1 or 2 photons. I mean, it's that bad. So even with a laser, it diverges quite a bit. With radio instruments like we use to radio telescopes, it's even greater.
Well, I think you're getting back too quick.
Assume no divergence. Come on, guys. What he's talking about that doesn't have to do with lights propagated in all directions. Don says, if I'm 10 light minutes from him, and we both move at the same speed, let's say towards Andromeda, that if he see me and aim to me, he will miss me. Why? because I moved. And no, I didn't move. We both move at the same speed. I didn't move for Dawn at all.
What?
Yes.
Oh boy, you're saying the light conserves the momentum in that Chike.
Well, I gave you the example where you and something that doesn't move, you aim and hit the target, and I start moving. For me, you are moving. Did I change anything for you? Did the fact that I stopped
light
moving
doesn't respect that as
change anything to you with respect to your target?
Yeah.
How? I move, not you.
Yeah. Because we put a photon out in between us, and then when we move,
No.
right, I'm X distance from that photon, and you're Y distance from it, and then that reference point's going to show.
Listen.
What's moving? What's not equal.
You see a target in front of you. Target doesn't move. You aim, you hit it. I'm starting to move perpendicular to the line that you and the target make. You start moving away from me.
Okay, so cool.
Did
so
I change for you anything? Did your
no, man, we all know
change?
this. Fuck your relativity, man. Talk about the light, though.
The light. Did I change anything to you? Would you still hit the target?
I mean, again, it depends on the medium. Man.
What medium? You hit the target before. You saw it in front of you in space. You saw it in front of you.
I would say the orbital.
I began moving. I accelerated and began moving and perpendicular to you and the target.
Okay, I think.
Did I change anything? Did you feel anything change?
No, I think the common answer will be yes. You will hit the target.
You will hit the target. But for me, what I see is that you shoot from one place and you hit the target when the target is farther away. For me, the light went in a diagonally.
The angle?
Yes.
Yeah, the diagonal.
Yes. Right. How did that happen? How did it conserve the momentum?
That's so you're going to talk about a wavelength now. This is what I don't agree with.
I'm not talking about.
You're not going to see this in reality, Chike.
Look, yes,
I can't help you here because it's not real anymore.
What not real? Did I change anything to you when I start moving?
You're debunking Einstein, man.
No, I'm not. You will still shoot the target as you shot it before, and you will hit it. Now let's say you and the target start moving. How do we tell between those two different scenarios? If I started moving or you started moving, how can we tell?
Like I said, we would be able to tell by the reference of a photon, which isn't going to conserve that.
Well, you can go and tell them you find a way to tell who is moving and who is not, and there is a Nobel Prize there made just for this. It's waiting for someone to show you can tell who is moving and who is not.
It's like you have heard them collapse waves and shit.
It's there waiting 100 years.
They've done it.
Collected
they
it
don't
yet.
admit that they're doing it, dude. They've quantum mechanics, man, dusted Einstein's ass, bro.
You really believe that? Wow.
Absolutely.
And do you believe you're going to be dusting Einstein's ass too?
No, I'm just going to use the newest school that works.
And you're in position to judge what works and what doesn't. Why?
When people can keep highlighting the flawed logic, Mackie, you have to admit that it's flawed.
That wasn't my question.
I'm in position. I'm going to go with consensus, dude. Consensus seems to be saying this, Scott Mackie. They just won't admit it. They keep going against all of them, saying this part was wrong. This part was wrong. When we look deeper, this was wrong. This was wrong. It works on this scale, but it's actually wrong. So I'm sorry that you guys can't read between the lines and understand that.
It's our fault. I got it. So consensus.
Yeah, you got to
says
seek your own truth, Scott Mackey. You got to believe shit because you believe it, not because Don told you.
I just want to clarify this thing. Consensus says it, but they won't admit it. So the consensus that is
they're holding on to it. It's like saying you know, I can't figure the best.
Could it be possible, Don, that you don't know exactly what they're saying?
Like
No,
saying
I'm
what?
not-
Come on,
Don?
educate the class.
Could
It's
it be
like
possible?
it's
you
like
don't-
it's sorry that
could
it
be
works on this
possible-
scale, but when you
Don,
look closer, reality isn't that. I'm sorry that you know Zanuck looks like he has on a fucking an optical illusion sweater, but when you look closer, you see the real answer. You don't
Don?
say, "Oh, well, the optical illusion is still part of reality."
Don,
No,
could it be possible that you don't understand what the consensus is actually saying?
man, please.
No, I'm just
No?
an honest question. Because
Please.
it sounds like you might not.
So you're saying no?
Give me some substance, guys. You aren't
That wasn't the question you
saying
asked, though.
anything. You hear Chike debunking Einstein, saying that light conserves momentum, and they're
Is it
trying to
possible
pivot.
you don't understand?
It does conserve momentum. Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Is it possible you
Not
don't understand? Don?
not directionally.
What are the two types of mass that we talk about when we say light conserves momentum? Because can you answer that, Don, or are you just
You cut out.
fucking-
You cut out.
I said there's two types of mass that we talk about in physics. Light has one specific type, which goes along with Einstein's equations, and then there's another one. Do you know what those are? We're gonna go with a solid no. So why don't you get educated before you start babbling shit?
Can I play? Again, I'm here to learn things, and if you don't have any substance, then why are you asking the person that you think is dumber than you for answers? Either teach me or admit you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Not my job to teach you. That's
Then
your
shut
job
the fuck
to get
up.
educated.
You're an
But
idiot.
Don't come in here
You're an
spouting shit
idiot,
like
dude.
there's a
Quantum
problem when
mechanics
someone's
debunks Einstein.
You don't
It's
know what you're
taught in
talking
schools
about.
everywhere. Everywhere, bro.
Bullshit. Quantum mechanics
Everywhere.
is the
Wake up.
tiny
Wake up.
scale.
No clue what you're talking
Einstein
about.
works
Light
on
has no
larger
restless
scale.
mass, but it still
Exactly.
conserves
It works on larger scales. It's a lie. It's a deceptive scale. The tiny scale is the only reality. Okay?
Oh,
you guys aren't going to get to
bullshit.
your grand unified theory by holding on to shit that
Bullshit.
only fucking works in
Bullshit.
certain fucking places.
Bullshit.
We desire a grand unified theory, you fucking idiot. You're holding on to past
Correct.
debunk shit.
Correct. But, sunshine, quantum mechanics does not work in the galactic scale, in the cosmic scale at all. Einstein does. Einstein does not work in micro quantum mechanics scale. We need something that balances it out. That's the fucking theory of everything. But you just saying Einstein does not work, he's throw it all away because quantum mechanics works, that's bullshit.
What do you think time is? Do you think it's what Zanuck says it is, or do you think it's a fucking atom vibrating?
Jesus Christ.
I've been looking up peculiar velocity, which is just what the maximum speeds of objects in the universe are. And it seems like the fastest the Earth is moving relative to any frame of reference is about 600 kilometers per second, which is nowhere near the speed of light.
Did you measure Earth's speed relative to another galaxy?
Yeah, that's the point, dude. It doesn't matter if it's relative to anything else, Lewis. It's that all these objects conserve the momentum, but light doesn't. Not directionally.
You still haven't figured that out, Don? Why might that be, Don? I'm just guessing here. I'm spitballing, coming in cold. but light's not matter. Light is not made of matter.
Light
it doesn't
is
have
matter.
mass. Okay.
Light is not.
Hey,
light
God
is
damn
not
it!
Particles.
Do not yell over me like that, Don. Especially when you're so fucking wrong. Light is not matter. Stop that. Now you behave and sit down until I'm done, young man. Now
I'm
listen.
sick of fighting y'all every day.
Light
about
does
light.
not have mass. That means it does not have inertia, Don. That means that all of these little concepts that we set up in the parallel trains we set up and all that, light does not behave like matter will in this situation. Now, I'm being extremely forceful and assertive here and very competent in something that I'm not absolutely sure of. But I will say it to you this way, Don, because this is the way you need to hear it.
This is true.
Now respond like you've got a goddamn brain cell that works, Don.
I would agree with you, Sir Curve. I just want rational thinking human being business, sir. Okay? If it's not like matter and it doesn't conserve the fucking momentum like that in directionality, the other things are moving relative to each other, but the light isn't going to be part of that fucking system. It's a mismatch, Curve. It's a mismatch, man.
So, what's your point?
He said it with his chest, at least.
Yeah, the only reason that the only situation would be right is if things were moving a lot fucking faster.
No, it would never be right.
Like things would have to be.
You see how we can't get a consensus. One guy says if this, and Chike is no, and the other guy this. It's like you guys are sloppy, man. And if Yossi, if you're listening, dude, what we DM, you're absolutely right, man. I remember the DM. It's all right, but I still want to bounce it off logic, dude. I mean, you guys have logic in here, and I do respect it. But it's like I open up with this lateral conservation, and I'm told I'm an idiot or I missed something from beginning, even though that's the best understanding. I believe it was Beach shared with me the other day. So, but I'm attacked for that right off the bat. It's like that just shows me you guys cog dis from the beginning.
Don, can I? Gotta stop using that word, man. You don't know what it means.
Can I jump in, Don? And I'm sorry because I haven't heard of all of the conversation.
If you can hold so I could defend verse Mackey what he just said, I don't know what it means real quick. When you hold two opposing ideas, Scott Mackey, you're having trouble reconciling them, and that's the dissonance there. Okay, they have one idea, I'm presenting a new one, and they're having trouble with it, so they attack me. So do I understand it? Can you take that back, Mackey, or would you like to educate me?
No, it's the psychological discomfort you feel when you're trying to resolve two things. And nobody here believes there's a disconnect between the two thoughts. They just think you're wrong on yours.
Okay, so you're saying I'm wrong with my assessment. I do understand it, but I'm wrong.
Therefore, we are suffering from no cognitive dissonance.
Okay,
fine. We are feeling no discomfort.
Fine. So maybe you aren't. I think the people who were attacking me from the beginning were. Well, they were, man.
Well,
tell me I'm wrong.
People might be feeling discomfort, but it's not from cognitive dissonance. It's from frustration of this conversation.
It definitely was. I brought it out with lateral conservation. They could not believe that it was a real thing. I started telling them how I was talking to a glober about it and got that agreement, that education from that term. And they started, oh shit, I could be wrong. Wait a minute, I can't believe what he just said was right. That motherfucker was discomfortable, started telling me how fucking stupid I am. Period.
Speaking of the real thing, you know what Einstein said about quantum mechanics? He said quantum mechanics is very impressive, but an inner voice tells me it's not yet the real thing.
Ooh, baby.
Well, thanks for sharing that. I'm a better person now for knowing that.
Okay.
I don't really see an issue with your.
Thank everybody. Appreciate y'all.
How do you feel now?
I feel like we still have a mess, but I have the two standing answers. One, the propagation in all directions. Two, it not being a far distance or the kind of aiming ahead because you're already aiming ahead by looking at the thing in the aimed ahead position, kind of.
What a mess.
Oh, okay.
What a mess, I mean.
We got this because it doesn't have again, because it doesn't have mass and it doesn't have something, the other part, it can't be, light can never be matter again, when we know that matter can't be created nor destroyed, matter and energy. So why do they think that all the matter is going to turn into energy? You know what I mean? Like,
because that.
But why isn't it just the same thing at that point?
Why is what?
Like, if photons are going to be the end particles, why wouldn't we just consider them the building block particles? If everything's going to fall down into photons, why logically can't we say photons built everything up? Therefore,
well, because we don't know that reverse process happens, and we also don't know exactly. Well, we know that the nature of photons and the electromagnetic spectrum, electromagnetic energy, is different from that of regular matter. So it's not useful to describe them both the same way.
To describe them, sure, but to say that, like, it's not a thing or you're never going to group it with the other things, it's just, I don't know, it's weird, man. What do y'all know about?
If we ever do group them the same, that would require a unifying theory, which right now we don't have.
That's what I mean, but it's like they keep breaking down these subatomics, dude. It's gonna break down into photons. Y'all all know it. Y'all know it's gonna happen.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure what your point is there.
No.
I mean, everything radiates.
Things don't break down into photons.
No, the thing.
So when we have the heat death of the universe, what is it going to look like?
What Don is talking about is how everything emits electromagnetic radiation, and given enough time, what will happen is eventually everything will radiate everything that it has, and the atoms will stop moving.
Is that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well,
some elements are more stable than others, but like so, uranium will decay and turn into other stuff, and over that process, it will actually decrease in mass because it's radiating.
Sure.
It's
what about
turning.
a helium atom, for example?
I don't know what the stability of a helium atom is, but I imagine it's pretty low.
Yeah, neither do I. Yeah.
It would take a really long time for it to decay into something.
We're physicists.
The heat death actually implies that matter breaks down. I mean, you're going to lose heat. And everything will eventually reach near absolute zero.
Right.
But you'll still have the same rocks, everything will be in motion. I've never heard of molecules or atoms breaking down just because of time.
Yeah, it doesn't. There would probably be substantial radiation, like things would have converted to electromagnetic radiation a lot, but I don't think it would be most stuff at all. Like there would still be a lot of matter.
I mean, uranium and stuff, the unstable elements. But as far as I know, I've never heard of lead just decaying into helium.
No.
It can't be Matt Lewis. If I could talk to you for a second. Here's what I think is a weird thing about the absolute zero and the not doing work and just the matter having. You kind of said there might just be some matter that can't do work. Am I kind of correct hearing what you're kicking around there a little bit?
Well,
because
hey man, I don't understand. I don't know a whole lot about.
Well, here's what I would posit to you. They say about the doing work, right? And to me, matter or any kind of an atom is doing work by holding up its shell or whatever, or holding into that, I don't want to say chemical, but element. And you can think about this like, if there's an element of matter out there, it can heat something up, right? So that would be work that could be done. So that can't be the case in the great end, because you see what I'm saying? Like, it's going to all be balanced. So it all has to turn into the same stuff, basically.
No, it doesn't have to. If all heat is the same throughout the universe, then there's nothing that could be transferred.
That's what he said. He said if it's all the same, how could it be the same if there's different stuff? Like each element emits a different amount of heat.
I mean, it's entirely possible that we don't understand what would happen after absolute zero or at the heat death of the universe. Like these are just concepts that science has right now.
I don't think it'll be zero. I think the absolute middle.
You're basically talking about a singularity. When everything falls down and turns into a black hole, when matter is crushed until it cannot move.
No, this is not a singularity.
Yeah, I agree with a singularity should be a more likely scenario. Like the universe is going to pulse. Like I don't think it's just going to be a stew or a, you know what I mean? Like I think it's going to constantly pulse. Like that's what our universe does.
That would only be possible with absolute separation because energy would be transferred from, particle to particle to particle, and there would always be some motion left even towards absolute zero, but I doubt that you would get to absolute zero because there would always be a transfer of energy from thing to thing to thing to thing. Otherwise you need total and utter separation.
Absolute middle.
So you'd always have this background vibration of energy that would always be present if we're all connected anyway.
It would be really interesting to see like how collisions would happen if all of the stuff colliding was at absolute zero. I think that would be interesting.
Because we're all connected.
Why would you think that would change?
Think what? What are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of the energy that are theoretically matter that's at absolute zero doesn't have any energy in the atoms. Like there's no heat, so they're not vibrating, and that's going to affect their how they behave.
State. Yeah,
it's still in proper motion.
Right, exactly. It's still in proper motion. So would the collision result in an addition of energy to their state?
Yes.
Yes.
I want to say that in the heat death there is no collision.
Right. Yeah, there could still be collision. I'm just saying. I think it would be interesting to see all of that.
I get into a problem with that is you still have energy in that mass that's with proper motion.
Right.
So you can't really say that it has no energy. It has kinetic energy.
Right. Do we know? Is there any science on what happens to electromagnetic fields? Like, so if you have a magnet at absolute zero, is there any science on what happens there?
Interesting.
It's apart from superconductivity.
It's just, I don't know.
I never hear about.
I think we have science for a magnet. Hold on. Do you think we have science for a magnet at absolute? Have we ever gotten to absolute zero?
No.
No, I don't know. Why would we have science on it?
We've got within 0.0001 degrees.
So how would
Kelvin
there be any science on it?
Well, no, you might start to see changes.
Jeremy,
if you
want to be super pedantic about it, let's just call it. Do we have any science on magnets as they approach absolute?
Right. Yeah, that's all it would be. It would be seeing how the magnets behave or whatever that's creating an electromagnetic field. If they can get it down close to absolute zero, how does that change its behavior? And then anything beyond that would be extrapolations of data and other theories.
You seem like levitation,
assumptions,
magnetic levitation, and magnetic walking.
No. They would be assumptions, but you're not assuming that your conclusions there are true.
Just assumptions.
All you're doing on the bleeding edge of science when you're theorizing about what might be the case. All you're doing is setting up questions for the future that could be answered. That's all you're doing.
Until then, it's an assumption, right?
No, until then it's a question.
Yeah, but the important thing, Jeremy, is that you're acting as if that assumption is taken as gospel and everyone assumes that it's true, which is not the case.
No, I just want to make sure everyone knows it's an assumption. People are in disagreement with us right now. We probably set it straight.
Assumptions aren't taboo in science, Jeremy. I hate to tell you.
All right. Well, you have the assumption, Jeremy, that most people just take everything in science as gospel, and that's not true. Science doesn't take itself as gospel.
That goes against science, really. Yeah, always learning, always studying.
Yeah, Jeremy also has the assumption everybody's lying to him. Can't forget that one.
I don't hold that assumption.
All answers are tentative, and all assumptions are taken within the bounds of reason, according to the evidence present.